During the middle and later stages of the disease, what in your experience seemed to stimulate Chris's memory more than other experiences?
It was small things, and whatever stimulated his memory was was only maybe a few seconds. And he would, sometimes I would visit him daily at his nursing home, and if he would see me, sometimes he would recognize me, and he would whistle, which was good. He still recognized me. And other times he would just see me and pass by, and there was absolutely no recognition. And he had another incident in which I thought it would be a good idea to bring pictures of his parents to put in his room. I thought that would be nice. But we found that it made him more agitated. He became very angry, and he began acting out quite violently. So we had to take the pictures away. And so I kept no family pictures in his room because I did not want any stirring of memories that would cause him distress or violence.
So was this at a stage of the disease where he was able to still communicate verbally, or was he not able to at that time?
He was not communicating verbally that well. To some degree, yes. But there was something that would happen inside him when he would see things that reminded him of what he no longer had.
Right.
And it was very sad. One time, two of our children came to visit him, and he saw one of them, and he gave the most woeful sound, just the saddest sound, just like an exhaling of.
Wow.
It was like very sad. Just a sigh that was so sad, and so from deep inside him, the sadness was. He knew that he knew something was terribly wrong, and this was somebody who was very important to him. Yeah.
When you think back at your experience with Alzheimer's, what seems to stand out the most in your mind?
The unfairness of it. He did nothing wrong he did nothing to get this disease. He did not smoke every day, and now he has lung cancer. Okay, there's a reason. There's a cause and effect. Why he got this, we don't know. Just the unfairness and the fact that, myself and our family will go through the rest of our lives without him, and I think that had the most effect on me. And also our kids and our grandkids. We try to keep his memory alive in many different ways. We talk about him and things that he did, or things that he would say, and sometimes we actually enjoy some of the funny memories, and I have some videotape of him talking, and my children and grandchildren, they love to watch this because they remember how he would talk and had some of his gestures and things like that, and it's a nice way to stay,
connected.
It's nice memories, yes.
As a caregiver while Chris was still at home, what was your biggest challenge?
Keeping him safe, protecting him. He would try to get out of the house. Sometimes in the middle of the night, he would just try to leave, thinking he was going somewhere. I had to install different locks on the doors to keep him inside if I was asleep. He would. One time I went down to get my mail, and I came back. He was gone.
Oh my God.
He took off, and he just took off walking. And in his mind, he was out looking for me. And he got quite lost into the woods, and I actually had to call the police, and they brought the dogs and the helicopter, and it took several hours to find him. And when they did find him, he was like a little scared boy. He was very, very frightened. So just protecting him was really the biggest challenge. And
was wandering something that he did often, or?
After that, we always made sure somebody was with him. But he would take off walking, but sometimes he would find his way back. Or if he walked down to where we would get our mail, sometimes it would take him a while, but he would find his way home eventually.
What about life after Chris, Linda? What was your first reaction when Chris passed, and what emotions were taking over you at the time?
After he died, I expected him to live a few more years. It was actually, he died a little sooner than I thought because of the way that the disease works. He was no longer able to swallow. He was aspirating, and he finally died from that, from aspiration. He would even aspirate his own saliva. There was no way he could swallow anymore. And he, so it was missing him, just missing him. And I think after he died was the time I really started dealing with the disease. Prior to that, I was in caregiver mode, taking care of him, protecting him, making sure that he was always safe. But after he died, that's when I actually started dealing with what actually did happen those past few years. What did we endure and what did we live through? And of course, you know, missing him, that our children were having children that would never know him in person. They're only through stories that we tell, picture albums and stories, that sort of thing. And
is there something that you would like to add about this horrible disease?
That it is, to me, the best part of the disease was when he no longer knew what was happening to himself. I knew he wasn't suffering anymore. The family was suffering, but he was no longer suffering. And so after missing him, I think that is the part right now, that just missing him. We all try to, particularly myself, I try to be a grandmother and a grandfather, as I know he would have been to our grandchildren. And I try to carry both roles. And because he's the kind that would have sit down on the floor and played with them at their level. So I find myself doing the same thing that he would have done. And he had such a love of life, and I try to emulate that, to do this for him. And I find that we all follow. He left us a great legacy of living life and loving life, and always going forward, always reaching higher than what you think you can do. So I think we try to honor him in that way of just following in his, as he would have wanted us to do, and to be the kind of people he wanted us to be. And I know that all of us are doing that. And but he's greatly missed.
I can imagine.
Even now, yeah.
I can imagine. Linda, thank you so much. Did you want to add anything?
Oh, I wanted to thank you for letting me tell my story, and I hope this brings more awareness and more volunteer involvement for the Alzheimer's Cure Foundation. And if $20 million prize foundation doesn't work, then what would? So anyway, I wanted to thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you for coming on the show and sharing your experience with our audience. Thank you.
Before closing, I'd like to acknowledge and thank all the caregivers, the daughters, the sons, the husbands, the wives, and yes, even the parents of Alzheimer's patients. I would especially like to acknowledge and thank my own personal hero, my mom, Elvira Lascaritas, for the endless love, caring, and compassion she gave to my dad throughout his battle with Alzheimer's. Until next time, I'd like to wish each and every one of you a long life and good health.